The year is 2025. Donald Trump, once again occupying the Oval Office, has revived his combative approach to international trade. On March 4th, he announced sweeping tariffs, targeting imports from multiple countries. This move sent shockwaves through the global market, evoking memories of the trade wars that defined his previous presidency. Among the hardest hit were Canada and Mexico, two nations with deep economic ties to the United States. Trump's tariffs focused heavily on steel and aluminum, imposing a 25% levy on imports from both countries. This action was reminiscent of his 2018 tariffs, which sparked retaliatory measures and fueled economic anxieties. In addition to metals, Trump targeted Canadian energy products with a 10% import duty, further escalating tensions. The administration justified these actions by citing concerns over trade deficits, the influx of fentanyl, and illegal immigration. These arguments, however, were met with skepticism from many quarters. Critics pointed out that Canada and Mexico were not the primary sources of fentanyl trafficking into the United States. They also argued that tariffs would do little to address complex issues like immigration, which required nuanced and multifaceted solutions. Despite the backlash, the Trump administration remained steadfast in its protectionist stance, arguing that these measures were essential to protect American jobs and industries. The impact of Trump's tariffs was swift and significant, particularly for Canada and Mexico. Both countries found themselves caught in the crossfire of a trade war that threatened to disrupt decades of economic integration. The tariffs on steel and aluminum, key industries for both nations, sent shockwaves through their manufacturing sectors. Businesses faced rising input costs, jeopardizing their competitiveness and putting jobs at risk. The Canadian economy, heavily reliant on exports to the United States, was particularly vulnerable. The tariffs on energy products, a major source of revenue for Canada, further compounded the economic strain. Canadian businesses operating near the US border felt the immediate impact as cross-border trade ground to a halt. The uncertainty surrounding the tariffs created an atmosphere of anxiety among businesses and investors alike. In Mexico, the tariffs threatened to derail its manufacturing sector, a key driver of economic growth. The automotive industry, heavily integrated with the US market, braced for a major downturn as tariffs disrupted supply chains and increased costs. The specter of a trade war also cast a shadow over the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, the successor to NAFTA. Canada and Mexico were quick to respond to Trump's tariffs, announcing retaliatory measures of their own. Both countries targeted US goods with tariffs, aiming to inflict economic pain and force the Trump administration to reconsider its protectionist policies. Canada imposed tariffs on a range of US products, including orange juice, beer, and ketchup. Mexico, while initially delaying the specification of target products, later indicated that it would likely focus on the US agricultural sector, a politically sensitive area for the Trump administration. Beyond retaliatory tariffs, both countries also sought to rally international support against Trump's trade policies. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau condemned the tariffs as an attack on the Canadian economy and a betrayal of the long-standing friendship between the two countries. He accused Trump of attempting to weaken Canada for potential annexation, a claim that Trump dismissed as absurd. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum echoed Trudeau's sentiments, denouncing the tariffs as unjust and harmful to the Mexican economy. She vowed to defend Mexican interests and work with international partners to uphold the rules-based trading system. The trade dispute also strained relations between the United States and its North American neighbors. As of March 2025, the future of US-Canada-Mexico trade relations remains uncertain. The tariffs have disrupted supply chains, increased costs for businesses and consumers, and fueled anxieties about a potential trade war. The economic fallout is already being felt on both sides of the border, with businesses and workers bearing the brunt of the dispute. The political ramifications are equally significant, as the tariffs have strained relations between the United States and its closest neighbors. The long-term effects of Trump's trade war on Mexico and Canada remain to be seen. However, one thing is clear. The dispute has tested the limits of North American economic integration and raised questions about the future of free trade in the region. The outcome of this trade war will have far-reaching consequences, not only for the countries directly involved, but also for the global trading system as a whole. The world is watching closely, hoping for a swift and amicable resolution to this transatlantic trade war.